An NBA insider has revealed the truth on the Miami Heat's trade noise with Andrew Wiggins, as Wiggins has been mentioned time and time again in trades for the Miami Heat. And now with Erik Spoelstra taking a look at Wiggins in a sense for the future when it comes to the Miami Heat, there's a lot of questions that have been raised, and we are going to discuss all of this with Andrew Wiggins becoming a serious trade target for other teams, what this means, when we could see a trade, if we could see a trade, and a lot more as well that you do not want to miss out on. Guys, if you are part of that 79% that's not subscribed to Heat Digest, make sure to subscribe. Me and Houston have a ton of videos coming out that you do not want to miss out on. But with all that being said, let's jump into the video. That's why we're here. We're here to talk Heat basketball, and that's exactly what we're going to do. As we know, Pat Riley is no stranger to trading away players, even if they've just been acquired by the team, and Andrew Wiggins has found himself in some serious trade discussions thus far. Now, Wiggins was acquired by the Heat at the trade deadline when the Heat decided to move on from Jimmy Butler after that saga made it very clear that he was not going to stick around in Miami. He got traded to the Warriors for Wiggins, and Wiggins came back to Miami and did put up some solid numbers with the Heat. Now, when it comes down to it, Wiggins has been someone who has been questioned ever since being traded to Miami, if that was the long-term home for him or not. And there's been there's been a lot of questions continue to surround that throughout the entire offseason, as it's not exactly fully clear what the deal with Wiggins is. Now, I recently did do a video discussing the fact that it feels like Wiggins will be sticking around at least through the offseason, and then during the regular season, we'll see what happens if he's going to continue to be a part of this team or find himself elsewhere. But NBA insider Sam Amico just dropped an absolute bombshell by saying, without a doubt, the main man to watch for the Heat is Andrew Wiggins. He was involved in a few trade talks over the summer, and given that Miami again looks like a middle-of-the-pack team, Wiggins' name will likely continue to be mentioned. Now, Wiggins last year between the Warriors and the Heat averaged 18 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. He continued to be a very good defender, getting a steal per game and nearly a block per game as well, while shooting 42% on the corner three, where he also shot 37.5% on threes in general. He shot 45% from the field, has been a good shot creator for the Warriors, and then went to the Heat and continued to be a good shot creator. And there's been a lot of questions surrounding what's next for Wiggs. So when you consider everything that's going on for Andrew Wiggins and what the future holds from him, it is going to be pretty interesting to see what's going to happen in the future in regards to Andrew Wiggins and what everything looks like for the team. Now, Wiggins, when he got to Miami, he put up 19 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, and 3.3 assists in those 17 regular season games. He shot 36% from three, 46% from the field. The numbers were solid. I mean, don't get me wrong. Wiggins is not a bad player by any means. The former first overall pick has not exactly lived up to his potential, but at the same time, he was the second best player on a Golden State Warriors team that won an NBA Finals. So in a lot of ways, he did what he was drafted to do almost. So obviously, there's that. Not for the Timberwolves, of course. They ended up getting D'Angelo Russell out of the whole experience. That didn't work out, but they're fine now. They're doing well. Look, when it comes down to it, Andrew Wiggins has bounced around a decent amount as far as the first overall pick goes, but at the same time, you look at him in the playoffs, and this is a concern because he did not play very well whatsoever. I mean, he averaged 11.5 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 2.3 assists, and just was not effective at all, shooting 37% from the field and in the 30s on the threes. But look, he was dealing with a bit of an injury, which did throw things off, and also the Cavs were a juggernaut. The Heat were never winning that series, so it did make things a bit difficult to fully gauge. Now, at the same time, when it comes down to Wiggins, there is just a lot of questions surrounding what's going to happen with him after a lackluster playoff performance, and there was some discussion on that in regards to trades. As Sports Illustrated mentioned, Wiggins, who's extremely introverted by nature, never seemed completely comfortable with the Heat after his acquisition. Even as he had some strong games, one of them putting up 42 points, he faded badly in the playoffs, though an ankle injury played a part. And this summer in Las Vegas, Heat coach Erik Spoelstra acknowledged that the key to Wiggins' success in Miami would be his acclimation off the court. While there were trade rumors, Heat officials squashed them and have stated that Wiggins will be with the Heat in training camp. On top of that, we also saw Sports Illustrated mention that for now, Wiggins figures to be the starting small forward. He has 2 more seasons left on his contract, and Miami was open to including him in a potential deal for Kevin Durant before Durant went to Houston. The Suns also did not want Andrew Wiggins in that deal, which was part of it. So there's no guarantee that Wiggins will make it through a season if another opportunity for a superstar arises. And I honestly agree. I think when it comes down to it, saying, oh, well, Wiggins is going to be here in training camp, honestly isn't the greatest sign of things. Well, he'll be here in a month. Like, that's not saying that Wiggins is a long-term part of this team at all. It's saying, well, yeah, Andrew Wiggins will be here next month. In a month from today, Andrew Wiggins will be on the team. 2 months, who knows? But 1 month from now, trade deadline, he could be anywhere. So it comes down to that. And also, the reason Wiggins didn't get traded wasn't because the Heat didn't want to trade him. It's because they couldn't trade him for Kevin Durant. They offered him. But the Suns said, we don't want Andrew Wiggins. And they got Jalen Green, which was a better package. So when it comes down to it, it becomes the situation of, it's not that the Heat don't want to trade Wiggins. It's that when they tried to trade Andrew Wiggins, the team they tried to trade him to did not want Andrew Wiggins. And that's where things start to get a little bit interesting going forward. When you look at the Heat depth chart, of course Wiggins is going to have a big part in it. He's going to be the starting small forward. Hoops Hype here has him listed as the shooting guard. I imagine Powell will be the shooting guard. He is the smaller guy and fits more of a shooting guard role than Andrew Wiggins. However, it doesn't matter. They're both the wing. It doesn't really change much at the end of the day. And, I mean, there's not a ton of wings and forwards on this team. I mean, Kasparas Yakachonis can kind of do that role as a rookie. Davion Mitchell is more of a point guard than Yakachonis. They should probably switch that around. Pell Larson, Jaime Jaquez, both young guys who could have bigger roles with the team. At the same time, you then look at Simone Fontecchio, who they just brought in, had a bad year last year, but is going to try to bounce back. Drew Smith, who's mainly a guard. He could play some shooting guard as well. But there's not a ton of wings on this team. So if you give Andrew Wiggins away for a position that's not a wing, even if it's a big where there's also a very, very, very just clear lack of depth there, it's still a situation of like, okay, we're going to have a hole with this one position. We're going to be relying on a ton of young guys if it's the wings, or if you don't trade Andrew Wiggins and you just keep this big unit, it's like, all right, we're going to have a hole in the fact that we don't really have any centers outside of Bam Adebayo. I mean, Khalil Ware can do it. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be a center down the line, but right now, he is still more of a power forward because of how thin he is. Now, at the same time, you look at the Heat, the small ball thing's going to happen, and that's going to mean Wiggins is going to bounce around from shooting guard all the way up to power forward, and that's going to be fine. But again, more than anything, if they can move Andrew Wiggins, they're going to move Andrew Wiggins. As Brett Sigel said, he's been on the trade block all off season with Andrew Wiggins. Like, Wiggins has been on the trade block, so it's not like he hasn't been. I mean, obviously, this was over a month ago now that this was said, but the point still stands. I mean, definitely when you look at everything, Andrew Wiggins is definitely on the trade block. You look at Wiggins' contract, and it is a fairly tradable deal. He's got a player option at the end of this deal, which he'll likely opt into, is my guess. And yeah, it's $30 million, but Wiggins, he's worth a similar amount to that with the way that some contracts are now. But it's just, he's not the right fit for the Miami Heat, who need to trade for another star to keep contending. And Wiggins is a good guy to package for that because he's on a tradable contract. And then also there is some interest in him. He's been traded for other players before. You know what you're going to get out of Andrew Wiggins. So you could definitely try to work that in. It's just a matter of trying to see if it could actually end up working. So we're going to see what happens with that. I do think that Andrew Wiggins is not long for the Heat. I imagine that the Heat saying he'll be here next month is not a good sign, where they'd say, no, we want Andrew Wiggins for the long term, not he'll be here at training camp. So we're going to see what happens. I expect the Heat to trade Andrew Wiggins some point over this season. I'd be surprised if he's with the team after. We know the Milwaukee Bucks have held some interest, so maybe it's something like that, given they have no tradable contracts that really work, and who wants Kyle Kuzma, so it's difficult to decipher, but we're going to see what happens, guys. What do you want to see happen with Andrew Wiggins? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I'll catch you later.